Ahead this morning, anti-Semitism concerns the messages that took the president of Chicago's Board of Education off the job. The new Chicago School Board of Education president has already resigned. Parents and even some city leaders say the mayor's controversial pick had a history of posting anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas social media posts, and they came full out in force against that decision. Joining us now to discuss this is Parents Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erika Sanzi. Good morning to you, Erika. That was fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really chaotic in Chicago for the past couple weeks. In fact, this story was changing hour by hour, but as people heard last week that the board had resigned because of, arguments and disagreements about how to manage, budget gaps. And the mayor of Chicago appointed someone to become to the board that was going to be the chair, who unfortunately seems to have a real problem with Israel and Jews, and also has has publicly gone on record in support of Hamas. And just to read one quote so people understand how radical, after October 7th, when describing the massacre, he said, "People have an absolute right to attack their oppressors by any means necessary." And so what happened was they called them aldermen out there, which I think of as like city councilors. So one by one, they were signing on to a letter calling for his resignation, and that number was up to 40 out of 50. But then on Thursday, the governor also came out and called for his resignation, which I think made it untenable. So he has since resigned, and chaos reigns again.
I was going to say, it is a sad state of affairs for the mayor of Chicago. One literally controversy after another for him, and for really the city of Chicago that are suffering as a result of that right now. They've gone how many weeks right now without a board president of their schools?
I'm not positive on the number of weeks. I would say it's probably been either 2 or 3, but part of the problem is that because they have these sort of extreme ideologues, real kind of radical types in these positions, this is kind of what happens. It destroys itself from within. And so I think that, again, we're just sort of witnessing what happens when you install people that have this worldview into positions of leadership.
And from one controversy to another, this time in the state of Maryland, the state Department of Education has created a sex education curriculum for kindergartners about gender identity, and parents are furious about this. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, I mean, so again, we're talking about, 4 and 5-year-olds, and the lessons are about gender identity, and they tell the children, you may have boy parts, but, you may actually be a girl, or you may have girl parts. So it's shocking if you're hearing it for the first time, but I mean, as we've reported here many times, unfortunately, in a lot of school districts, we are seeing curriculum like this. Again, ideology that gets into the system and works its way down to the youngest grades, where you're literally talking about indoctrinating young children into this belief system, and also, teaching them pseudoscience, kind of scaring them, teaching them about regressive stereotypes, right? So now it's suddenly like, if you're a girl and you don't want to play with Barbies, or you have short hair, like maybe you're a boy. I mean, to me, that's really almost like abusive language to be using with other people's children.
To your point, a lot of parents did not know this was happening. They did not know this was in the curriculum. So this is eye-opening for many parents in that school district, I think, that might have learned about this for the first time. Meantime, some school districts in New Hampshire have implemented policies in the past decade that require faculty to allow students to change their gender, including which bathroom, which locker room they want to use, and then hide it from the parents and keep it all in secrecy. What's this about?
Yeah, this is the trend that we've seen nationwide. We recently added a batch of districts out of New Hampshire, though I think our total out of New Hampshire now is 32 districts that have a written policy to withhold information from parents if their child decides that they're going to identify as a different gender at school. So, again, school staff are told that they are required to deceive parents. Now, only on this one issue, though, right? So you can contact parents if they fail a test. You can contact parents if they get in a fight. You can contact parents to see if it's okay to give them an Advil. The only time that they are deliberately deceiving parents is if and when a child makes a decision that they're going to identify as a different gender at school. It is wildly unethical, and I would argue it's illegal.
Yeah, and the fact they can pick whether they want to go to the bathroom of a boy or a girl, depending on the day, or the locker room. That's also something that the children get to decide, and that the parents also are left in the dark about. All right. Parents Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erika Sanzi, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Have a good weekend.
You too.